Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Liv Moods here, live in studio. I actually feel like I haven't been in studio on a Friday in some time, but we are here. Happy Friday. Hope everyone has had a wonderful day. It is the weekend eve. We are this close, ladies and gentlemen. Cedric, thank you for already being here bright and early. I feel like you were always the first one to come hang out with me. I love it. Thank you for being here. We've got a lot of things to talk about today. First and foremost, we are going to start with Denver sports. If you guys are local in the Denver area, we will keep you updated all season long on all things Colorado Avalanche, all things Denver Nuggets, Denver Broncos. We've already been tackling for quite a while this season. It feels like the NFL season is going to be over before we know it, as well as the CU Buffs, who are definitely on a heater right now and looking really, really, really great as this season is starting to come to an end. But let's start with arguably the most important news of the day. And bear with me here, folks. I am not an Avalanche reporter. I am not a hockey girl. We have talent in the building for that. But it is a big day for Colorado Avalanche fans as well as the Colorado Avalanche team. They are getting a few important players back, some from injury. We'll start with those. Miles Wood, I think I'm doing this right. I just had everybody tell me over there how to pronounce names. How do I say these names? This is very foreign for me. Miles Wood coming back from injury. And the other one is Drouin, I believe. Yeah, I think Liv Moods is killing it so far. Okay, those two guys are coming back from injury. Now, there is a third person over here. If you are unfamiliar, the name is Nichushkin. I think I did that right. Bear with me, folks, but I think I did that right. I believe it was last year in the they're clapping for me in the back, so I think I did it right. That's great. Okay. I believe it was last year in the playoffs that Nichushkin got in trouble for testing positive for some drug-related things in his system. This was not his first offense. It was actually his third. He took some time away during his suspension. I think the rumor around the street here is that he was doing some rehab. I mean, obviously, if this is your third offense, you've been in trouble for it before, and you can't seem to shake it. Maybe there's a bigger problem going on, but he has actually been skating with the team again, I believe, for the last couple of weeks, maybe, but he is back tonight, and it's a really, really big deal. I was just talking to Chloe, who's a big hockey fan. We have a lot of hockey fans in this building, by the way, so I need to maybe play catch up here because every time they talk about a hockey player, I'm like, huh? What was that name? I didn't understand that. But in talking with them, sounds like he's been skating with them for a while. He's back tonight. And when he was suspended during the playoffs last season, he was leading the league in goals scored. So this is not just some, bench guy coming back to this team. This is a very big deal. When I spoke to Jesse this morning on the phone, Jesse said, this is a top 5 wing in the league. So this is not something to just skim past. This is a very big deal for this team to have him back out there. I think Avs fans everywhere are probably feeling very, very excited. So 3 guys making their return to the Colorado Avalanche tonight, 2 of which were coming off of injury, 1 of which was coming off of a suspension, but nonetheless, all very important to this team and the success of this team. So excited to see what this does for our Colorado Avalanche. Let's move on to the Denver Nuggets because they also play tonight. They are on the road taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. We saw this Nuggets team in 5 games at home, getting back to the form that we know and love of this Denver Nuggets team, which is defending home court well. At one point in time, the Denver Nuggets were a team that you could rely on anytime they played at home. It felt like they always had an advantage. They always had the edge. Now, they got back to that this week. They had 5 games at home, 2 of which were against some really great competition. One in OKC. They got the dub there after a fantastic last-second block by Peyton Watson to help them win that one. And then against the Dallas Mavericks, who are the Western Conference champions currently right now. The Mavs seem to be struggling a little bit. I saw that they took an L to the Utah Jazz last night. Not a great team to lose to, considering they might be one of the worst in the league right now. But this Mavericks team, nonetheless, still stacked with talent. This Nuggets team got a win against the Mavs despite allowing Kyrie Irving to score 43 points. So we know this Mavericks team is good. We know that OKC is good. And this Nuggets team finally getting back on track, not just winning 5 games straight at home, but also beating some really great teams to prove that they've still got something there and this team can still be a contender this season. So it's been very fun to watch them. They're on the road now for a little bit. The Pelicans tonight, the Grizzlies Sunday, and then I believe the Grizzlies again on Tuesday. So they'll be on the road. Let's see if they can keep that win streak up, even if they're not playing at home. Let's talk about the Denver Broncos. Not going to spend too much time here because the Broncos play on Sunday. We will have a post-game live show for you then. And also, my friends Nate Jackson and BK will be joining me in less than an hour right here in the studio to break down this Broncos game. The Broncos are playing at home this weekend, and they are playing the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are not a team to overlook. They've got a lot of talent. We know Kirk Cousins at any given moment typically plays best when it's not a primetime game, which it's not. But I actually take that back because Kirk Cousins has been surprisingly decent in primetime spots this season. So excited to watch this matchup. Justin Simmons making his return back to Denver. Oh, I'll try not to cry. I'm sure I will get emotional. I love Justin Simmons, and he will be back here. I would love to think that they will have some sort of beautiful tribute video for him. He obviously spent a lot of time here in Denver and was loved by all. So it'll be very sad to see him back here, not in blue and orange, but it will also be very exciting to see him back here because I think this will always be home for him, as well as a place that we will welcome him with open arms because we just love him out here in Broncos country. So that's the update for the Broncos. And finally, the CU Buffs. We have to give credit where it's due here, okay? I know it was a lot. It was a lot of media attention on this Buffs team last season, only for them to lose 8 of their last 9 in a very, it felt like you were on this sugar high with the Buffs last season, and then you had the sugar crash, and it hurt like hell, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? So they didn't end their season very well last year, but then they started this year, still with Shador, still with Travis Hunter, Coach Prime as the coach, and they're doing some really, really great things. Right now, currently ranked number 18th in the AP poll. Keep in mind, this is a 12-team playoff season, all right? This is the first time we're seeing 12 teams make the college football playoffs. If the Buffs win out, there's a chance we see this team in the playoffs. And what a way to turn around the end of last season into this season. It just proves and confirms what we already knew, which is that Coach Prime was not only a fantastic addition to this Colorado Buffaloes football program, but he's also a phenomenal head coach, and he's done some really great things with this team. So congratulations to the Buffs. Let's keep it rolling and hopefully see you in the playoffs. That would be pretty awesome considering we are fully credentialed and work with this Buffs team. We would love to give you guys firsthand look at what the 12-team playoffs looks like for the first time. So fingers crossed that the Buffs can keep it up. All right, let's talk some NFL. You guys know I'm a big football girly. I'm a big basketball girly. I really tried my best with the abs thing this morning. You'll have to let me know in the chat how I did with that. I'm new to this, folks. I'm new to this, but we had to talk about it. So let's get into the NFL. Arguably, some of my favorite matchups this weekend. There were a few last weekend that I really liked, but this weekend I'm really, really liking them. Let's start with maybe the most anticipated matchup of the 3 that I'm going to discuss, which is the Bills taking on the Chiefs. Okay. Everybody and their flipping grandma is ready to see the Chiefs take an L. I'm sorry. Unless you are from Chiefs Kingdom, which if you are, I probably won't be friends with you. But unless you're from Chiefs Kingdom, I have a feeling you are ready to see this Chiefs team take an L. And who better to deal them an L than Josh Allen and this Bills team, who seems to fall short to the Chiefs every single year when it matters, whether it's losing a coin toss, losing in overtime. I mean, they're just brutal, brutal losses. And 2 things can be true. Here's what I want to say about this game. 2 things can be true. You can be the toughest team to beat, but not be the best football team in the league. I don't think the Chiefs are the best football team in the NFL right now, but I do think the Chiefs are the toughest team to beat. If you want to call it luck being on their side, if you want to call it the refs giving them the advantage and giving them bailout flag, you can call it what you want. They are a tough team to beat, but I don't think they're the best team in the NFL. Maybe that sounds a little confusing to you, but I truly think there are far more talented teams in this league. The Chiefs just have a lot of things. When you are a really great football team, things just tend to kind of fall in place for you. And it feels like the Chiefs are that way. If you didn't watch the Broncos game last weekend, they lost to the Chiefs, despite giving them a very competitive game. in the final seconds of the game because of a blocked field goal. Okay, I mean, come on. What's going on? How often can you say we were up against the Chiefs? They were the only undefeated team left standing. We almost dealt them a loss, their first one of the season, and then we had a blocked field goal. I mean, it's just, this is the type of stuff that you hear about in movies, in stories, in books, but it's the Chiefs' reality. They're really great and good things tend to happen to them, whether it be luck or a good whistle or whatever. Okay. So in my opinion, this is probably the matchup that I would say is going to be the toughest for the Chiefs this season. The Chiefs, I'm not saying have had an easy schedule, but I do think there's something about this Bills-Chiefs rivalry that the Chiefs are getting their momentum very early in this season. I think that they are maybe peaking a little too early. And Chiefs fans out there are probably watching this going, they're not peaking at all. They're really not playing that great of football. As a Chiefs fan, I haven't been all that pleased. Well, that may be true, but they are still the only undefeated team left standing. And I do think if anybody is going to hand this Chiefs team an L first, it's going to be the Bills. And I really, really hope that it is. When we're talking about head-to-head matchups between these two teams, because I have two other matchups we're going to talk about, but right now, despite the Chiefs being undefeated, the Bills are favored, a slight favorite in this one by about 2 points, okay? And when we're talking about head-to-head matchups here, when these teams have gone back and forth, it has really gone back and forth. Their most recent game, the Chiefs won 27-23, a 3-point game, a field goal game. They always seem to be very competitive and close. The game before that, the Bills won 20-17, a field goal game. Okay. The game before that, the Bills won 24-20, almost a field goal game. The game before that, the Chiefs won. This was back in 2022, 42-36. They kind of dealt them a nice loss there. But then the year before that, in 2021, or the game before that, the Bills won 38-20. So in recent years, we have seen these games not exceed 4 points. Whoever's winning, the differential is no more than 4 points here, okay, in their last 3 head-to-head matchups. So I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be highly competitive. And I really am struggling with a side in this one, just given how I do know there's so many things that work in the Chiefs' favor often. They do, and it's really, really tough to fade that right now. So I think it's going to be very competitive. This is one of those head versus heart games that most people will tell you stay away from because it's just not worth it. But I am going to go on a long shot here and say that if anyone is going to beat the Chiefs first, it's going to be the Bills. I think the Bills are probably more motivated than ever, given the undefeated record that the Chiefs are sitting on right now, and given the fact that I think across the league, teams just know that hump you have to get over always seems to be the Chiefs. So I think Josh Allen and the crew are going to be motivated. They're going to be hungry for it. They're going to be ready to go. But they have a very tough defensive opponent here in this Chiefs team, as well as Patrick Mahomes. So it's going to go back and forth. I'm very excited about this game. The heart says Bills. The brain says Chiefs. Do with that what you will. Okay, let's talk about the next game. This actually might be one of the ones I am the most excited about this week because this team, gotta tell you, been pleasantly surprised by the Pittsburgh Steelers, okay? The Steelers are taking on the Ravens in a divisional matchup. Right now, the Ravens, in my opinion, are neck and neck with the Detroit Lions in terms of playing their best football, okay? The Baltimore Ravens look great. Lamar Jackson is doing significantly better numbers-wise this season than he did through 10 games. Lamar Jackson this season looks better than he did last season in his MVP season. What does that tell you? This dude is really looking good for a back-to-back MVP award. He just is. He looks outstanding. I believe he's got 20-something passing touchdowns and 2 interceptions, as opposed to last season through 2 games. He had less passing touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He just looks insane. Lamar Jackson is playing his best football right now. This Ravens team looks amazing, but we cannot just skip over how great this Pittsburgh Steelers team has looked. I know it feels if you would have asked any football fan at the beginning of this season, who's winning the Ravens-Steelers matchup in week 11 with Russell Wilson at the helm, I would have been like, don't ask me stupid questions, okay? Of course, the Ravens are winning that game. This is going to be a good one, okay? Russell Wilson right now is cooking under Mike Tomlin, which I anticipated, okay? I felt like Russell Wilson was not given a fair opportunity here in Denver. Him and Sean Payton just did not see eye to eye. That is just the fact of the matter. They did not get along from jump. I think Sean Payton wanted him out of here. He wasn't Sean Payton's pick. Sean Payton wanted to make his team, not have the sloppy seconds of somebody else's team. So Sean Payton wanted Russell out of here from the beginning. It didn't matter that Russell Wilson had a little 5-game win streak in there. It didn't matter that Russell Wilson beat the Chiefs and tried to turn the season around. Sean Payton was checked out. He was done. He wanted Russ out of here. Well, Russell Wilson went to Pittsburgh, was behind Justin Fields to start. That was kind of the conversation. And then you throw him in the mix under Mike Tomlin, who in my opinion is one of, if not the best coach in the NFL. And Russell Wilson is cooking. Let him cook. He looks amazing. And this defense, we know, is a phenomenal defense. So to me, this is going to be an extremely great game. I say that Mike Tomlin is one of the best, if not the best coach in the NFL, because he is a winning head coach through and through. Every season, this man is winning games. He's ending with a winning season, okay? And he's doing so with some pretty weak rosters. He's doing so with not a whole lot of superstar talent. This, to me, is one of the best rosters we've seen under Mike Tomlin. And so I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to be able to do very great things this season and have a successful year. And he's already done that. He's proving that. And I think in this quarterback room, Russell Wilson right now is cooking. Let him keep cooking. But there is two really great quarterbacks that are battling it out for that starting position. Right now, Russell Wilson's got it, but Justin Fields, he can give a team a hard time as well. So I really like this Steelers team right now. I don't have a pick for you yet, but by the end of this show, I will. Okay, by the end of this daily, I'm going to decide what I like here. I will tell you, if you're a betting person, okay, in this game here, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers as about a field goal underdog at home. Okay, the Steelers have home field advantage here. They're a slight underdog by about a field goal. I think to play it safe, you back the Steelers +3. If it's a push, it's a push, but I do think this one is very competitive, very close, and I would not be surprised if the Steelers come out on top. I would not be surprised. Okay, finally, let's talk about the 49ers versus the Seahawks, okay? Another divisional game, yes. This team, both of these teams are pretty great, although the 49ers have dealt with quite a few injuries this season. They've been dealing with a lot of just, personal stuff, as well as injuries, as well as just some, I don't know, it just feels like it's been an off year for the 49ers. However, let's not just skim past the fact that CMC, Christian McCaffrey, Colorado native, is back on the field with this team, okay? Deebo Samuel's back and not dealing with as many injuries. We know that he had pneumonia. We know that he then had a rib thing. He's back. He seems to be relatively healthy. George Kittle's out there. Christian McCaffrey, Juwan Jennings has been great. So there's a lot of talent on this field. The 49ers did lose Brandon Ayuk, who did play against the Seahawks earlier in the season. So this is going to be an interesting one right now. The 49ers are nearly a 6.5 point favorite, or nearly a touchdown favorite here. I think they're sitting at 6.5 in most books. I don't know about a side in this one, but I do know head-to-head, the 49ers have dominated in their last 5. They have won 36-24 last game, 28-16 the game before that, 31-13, 41-23, 21-13. It just feels like the Seahawks team cannot shake the 49ers. And the NFC West is an interesting division right now because the Cardinals are sitting on top. They are 6-4. The 49ers are 5-4. And then both the Rams and the Seahawks are 4-5. So honestly, it's a pretty tight race still in the NFC West. It's one of the most competitive divisions I think we've got right now because everyone's, it feels pretty balanced at this point, despite the Cardinals being on top. So this would be a great spot for the 49ers to get a win so that they can sit on top of the NFC West. But it would also be a really great win for the Seahawks team because it would put them above the Rams. So this will be an interesting one. The NFC West seems to be pretty competitive right now. Cardinals sitting on a 4-game win streak, 49ers on a 2-game win streak, Seahawks on a 2-game losing streak. And you know what? I'm a firm believer of it's got to turn around at some point, okay? So maybe this is a good spot for the Seahawks. You really can't count out any divisional matchup. We talk about that a lot on our off-field show. Anytime you've got a divisional matchup, it's going to be a competitive game. You have to assume so anyways, even if the rosters are injured and things are crazy. Okay, finally, to wrap up our daily here, I have a pick. I have a sports pick. Yep. I have a sports pick. It's an NFL pick, and you could probably guess it's got to do a little something with what's going on here. Actually, I'm going to pull up something here because maybe I'm going to deal you guys a little player prop as well. Okay? So give me 1 second here. I think okay, I'm just looking here really quick. You know what? I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it, but I could see an interception being thrown by both Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Okay, I think there's going to be some turnovers in this one. So that would be a player prop that I would attack in the FanDuel Sportsbook right now. However, from a game perspective, I'm going to back the Steelers against the spread. I know it seems crazy. Liv, you just talked about how great Lamar Jackson is playing. Yes, I did. But I also love the Steelers defense. I think that Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches in the NFL. And I think Russell Wilson has that veteran status, that veteran leadership, has that ability to play tough against tough teams. So I'm going to back the Steelers +3. I would definitely prefer +3.5 if I could get it. I think right now the number's sitting at 3 just about everywhere. So I'll take it because if it's a push, it's a push. And I really genuinely could see the Steelers team winning outright. So may sprinkle as well on Steelers money line. So there you go. Listen, I've said this, I think, multiple times on this show that I would blindly tail. I actually think I talked about the Steelers last week, and I told you guys to take them against the Commanders, and they won. So, just saying, I will blindly follow Mike Tomlin just about anywhere. I think he's fantastic. I really am a huge Mike Tomlin fan, and the Steelers team right now, it's the best they've looked. So I'm gonna tail them until I can't anymore. Shout out to the Steelers. Shout out to Mike Tomlin. Shout out to former Denver Bronco Russell Wilson. I really do love seeing him thrive. I'm not a hater. I absolutely love it. So there you go, everybody. This has been another Guerilla Sports Daily. I am your host for today and just about every Friday, unless something comes up. But I am your host for every Friday of Guerilla Sports Daily. Every morning, 10 a.m. during the week, you can catch us here at the desk or at home, depending on what's going on. But you can catch us talking about all things Denver, local sports, any games that we like, any bets that we like, any news in the sports world that needs to be talked about. So, like I said earlier, in about 40 minutes, I will be joined by Nate Jackson, NBK, and we will be doing an off-field episode today, talking all things Denver Broncos, giving you guys a little preview. And then you'll also have our hockey crew in here at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, talking through all things Colorado Avalanche. I just gave you a little sneak peek, but I'm sure they're going to dive into it a little bit more later, talking about the 3 guys back on the ice tonight and how that impacts that team. We have you covered for all things Avalanche, Broncos, Nuggets, and Buffs. So make sure you're tuning in to all things Guerilla Sports. Give us a subscribe, a like, a comment, a repost, whatever you need to do. We appreciate you being here. I appreciate you being here. Happy Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. And if you want some football talk, we'll see you in 40 minutes.